Hi, Teddy and Holly. This is Paula. You'll have to excuse me. I'm at home today. My son is sick, so hopefully he won't be bugging us too much. I thought that it would just be easier if I go ahead and just send a video kind of explaining all the things that I was thinking of. I was hoping that you and Holly were actually having a sit-down meeting and I could just join to do this. That's what I meant by the planning meeting. But this works just as well as that. So if you look at the immersion week, we basically have 4 blocks in our immersion. We have an ASL block, which is in green, light green. We have a translation block, which is in blue. In the light purple is our interpreting block. And then the last one that you kind of see sometimes and kind of don't is the red community building, and that's actually just for like participants to have community building while they're on campus. So those are the 4 blocks that we have. There's 2 overall basic initiatives and goals for the overall immersion experience. The first one is to increase their knowledge base, so whether that be with certain theories or certain ways to approach work. And then the second one is to have authentic interpreting and translation experiences. So how that looks in the translation block is Naomi will provide a variety of different seminars. And our seminars are 10 to 20 minutes long, followed either pre and post by a variety of activities. So she'll talk about site translation and corpus translation and a variety of topics, and she's already developed those. With those, we'll have activities. So I would love if you and if Teddy and Holly would be interested in being part of those activities. I can send you that stuff if you would like. I'm more than happy to. In her contract, she developed 3 to 5 different activities. We're not really sure which ones we'll use on campus yet, so you can review them, but there's no need to like study in depth about them. So that's the translation block. Once they have those theories built, they will be assigned a translation project. 1 English to ASL, 1 ASL to English. And how that looks is the ASL to English, we have 2 projects. We have a Deaf Muslim Association giving a presentation at a conference. And so that will be split, and there'll be 7 people involved in that project. And then the other 7 people will be involved in a translation that Naomi and I think Richie Bryant, I can't remember now, maybe Christopher Robinson, did about the information we collected during a think tank for our program. So they'll be split up 7 to 7, and they will do English translations for those. And that will be happening the whole week. So you'll see sometimes in the schedule translation and interpreting lab time. It's meant for them to get together and discuss that. And then they should be applying the theories that they learned from Naomi. For the English to for the ASL to English, for the English to ASL, they'll be doing site translations, and the site translations are based off of actually materials that I grabbed from the library that are printed by the Minnesota Attorney General's office, and it's very user-friendly information about like cyberbullying and credit reports, and there's a variety of them. So some of them Naomi will use as prompts in her seminars, and then they will be split up accordingly, probably 3 to a document, and they'll work on those during the week as well. So those are their translation projects. So that pretty much describes the translation block. For the interpreting block, we are going about it a little bit different. So we have a variety of guest speakers that are coming to campus, as well as the seminars, as well as the authentic interpreting experiences, which happen on that Saturday and Sunday, the weekend. So if you see my name on the calendar or on the schedule, that's just because I was in charge of developing that topic. So Amanda Lujan is actually in the middle of developing those topics. So they are team interpreting, platform interpreting, and how to prepare for an assignment. So if you are interested, I'm more than happy to share those with you, and I would love if you would take those on and actually be the lead for those, but I didn't want to just slot you in without having that conversation with you. So if you're interested in teaching, leading, any one of those, again, they're seminars, so they're 10 to 20 minutes long, and then there's a variety of pre and post activities. If you don't want to be the lead, then you can just be involved in the activities. Then we'll have guest speakers come to campus, and the guest speakers are twofold: to build their knowledge as well as practice those skill sets. So for example, we're having Ander come to town, who is the Disability Services Director, I'm not sure that's his title, at the University of Minnesota. And he is going to come to talk about disability services at the University of Minnesota. So one of the intents is to build their knowledge of working systems as interpreters, and at the same time they will be interpreting his presentation. When we have guest speakers on campus, when they're presenting in English, we have deaf community partners that are coming and providing some feedback to the participants. There's 14 participants, so it was impossible to get 14 different, so it's not necessarily an authentic interpreting experience, but what it does provide is the framework of what we call the user experience, or the consumer experience. So they will actually understand what it feels like to have to use an interpreter. And I think Teddy and Holly, you'll both maybe appreciate this with going abroad, that experience of like, oh, having to use an interpreter kind of sucks. So that's one of the experiences that I intentionally built into this curriculum. So they will be getting general feedback from those community partners, which you'll see on the schedule as CP mentors, community partners / mentors. So sometimes there'll be names there, and those are people that are coming from the community and getting paid to contribute. So for Anders, for example, they will do that unrehearsed, unprepared, because the very next seminar that we talk about is how do you prepare for the work. So then we'll talk about, okay, what did that feel like? What would you have liked to known? And we'll use that as a sample of how to prepare for work. So those are the seminars. And then we have a variety of other topics that come up during that week. And then on the weekend, we have authentic interpreting experiences. So they will actually be going out and in the community. We have 4. We have a tour of St. Catherine's University, which happens at the same time as a tour of the Minneapolis Sculpture Garden. The Sculpture Garden is presented in ASL by Adrienne Clark, and the St. Kate's tour is presented in English by Janine. And then they flip-flop, so there's 7 in each group, and then Richard is the chauffeur, so he'll be bringing them back and forth that day. So I would love if you would join one or both, or stay at the Sculpture Garden. The Sculpture Garden is going to be super cool. We have participants already coming that weekend, and we've invited the whole community, so we're hoping to actually have authentic interpreting or authentic community people, but if they don't show, we have backup so that they're not just interpreting to their peers. And they will be assigned each slot. So each the St. Kate's has 7 different stops. Sculpture Garden, there's 7 of them, 7 of the stops on the tour. So they'll be assigned a specific one during that week, and then they'll be responsible to prepare for that. As well as they will be assigned a team, so they get a chance to practice some of that teaming and what that looks like. So that's Saturday, and then Sunday we're going to the Guthrie, which I think, Holly, you'll be able to come to. The Guthrie is a amazing location. Teddy, I think you're gonna love it. It's very picturesque. It's a beautiful theater, and we'll be getting a presentation in English by Hunter, who is the access coordinator there, in the morning. And Virginia Daniels will be joining us. She's a deaf woman and a professor here at North Central University, which is one of the other ITPs. And she will be joining as one of the patrons, so she'll actually be using the interpreted services. I'm hoping to be able to do platform interpreting at the Guthrie, but we're still trying to figure out some of those logistics. And then in the afternoon, Regina will be leading discussion about what it means to be a patron at the Guthrie. In addition, she's also an ASL mentor for the interpreters that they hire. So she's got a fantastic reputation. I have yet to meet her. She's a recent transplant here to Minnesota, and I'm thrilled that she's available. And then Monday we kind of just wrap up again with some more content and some programmatic stuff and so on and so forth. So specifically what I would love for you guys to be involved with is if you're interested in leading any of the interpreting blocks, which you'll see my name on. Oh, and in response to Teddy, your email about the Pixar depiction stories, I am reaching out to confirm that there will be deaf people there that will be willing to lead that. However, it is VRSII material, or at least that's where I got the idea from. So I just want to make sure all of that works well. And if there's anything you can share regarding that, that would be lovely. If that doesn't work out, then we'll slot in something else. It's the pilot year, so I anticipate that it's not going to go as planned, and that's okay. Where you see the language block, which is blue, those are games that Patty Gordon and Nick Zapko use during something in Minnesota called ASL Story Blend. And so those are a variety of activities and games that we will just be using, and it's to increase ASL knowledge, skills, comfort level, so on and so forth. So anytime you see a green block, it would be lovely if you guys could join as well, because the more people for those games, the better those are. And I can share all of what Naomi has developed so that you're abreast of that. I can share what Amanda has developed. She still has about 6 days to continue developing that. And I can share what Patty and Nick has developed. So I'm more than happy to kind of share those blocks with you if you want to look over. I can probably do that by June 1st. And let me know what you guys might be interested in doing. I didn't want to slot you in without talking with you. I'm hoping that covers most of it. You should have access to the immersion, so if there's any part that you're interested in joining, if you look at the schedule, you can actually, you see a column to the right of that date. So you'll see like Tuesday, June 5th, room, and then staff. And if you would like to participate, or you know for sure you're going to be there, you can always put VRSII or Teddy and Holly so that I know that you're interested. And I would be happy to have you lead anything that piques your interest. I sure hope you two are well. I am very excited to have you on campus. Thank you so much for lending your support and your knowledge. I think we can't do without it. So I'm very excited, and we'll be in touch soon. Okay, thanks. Bye.